So we finally reached Howl's Moving Castle, and boy, what a strange movie to talk about for me in this connection in particular. When Howl's Moving Castle first came out years ago, and I first saw it years and years ago, it was instantly one of my favorite movies. It really was. But then as I grew older and learned more stuff and watched more Miyazaki movies and so on, it kind of fell a bit from grace. I still like it. It's still a really good movie, and I still watch it and seen it a lot of times, and I still highly enjoy it, and I really enjoy rewatching it now. It just kind of pales in comparison, so it's a good movie. Then I guess we should just talk more about it. Howl's Moving Castle, Miyazaki's take on a more traditional story formula, follows the young girl and hatter Sophie, whom gets to be the victim of the Witches of the West's jealousy, and because of this jealousy, the witch turns Sophie into an old woman. So to break this curse, Sophie has to escape her home and travel out to find a way to break the curse. And on her way, she runs into Howl and his moving castle, where she stays as their cleaning lady. Her own problems, though, as it turns out, are small in comparison to the much larger plot of war going on in this world and Howl being caught up right in the middle of it. So now they all have to band together to merely survive someone else's conflicts and the war. This is a weird movie. And not that really good spirited away kind of weird, more than what do you actually want to be about movie weird? It starts off being a classic fairy tale where it's about Sophie trying to find a way out of this mess she found herself in. But then it becomes about the results and what is to come out of this war instead. I guess the idea is that Sophie, as an innocent pawn, just gets to be thrown into the middle of all of these conflicts of the world that has nothing to do with her, and she can only observe it as this outsider trying the best she can to keep the people around her safe, and her own curse really only takes second priority, if it even has any priority at all by the ending of the movie. But at the same time, we have this true love theme going on, so it's still kind of a fairy tale that just happens to be controlled by the conflicts of war. All of these plot threads does actually connect if you watch the movie enough times and think enough about it. But it is a heck of a lot of threads you have to connect by yourself. It's not a very obvious movie at all. That does make it a bad movie, just a little weird. The animation is of course absolutely gorgeous, and the music, Joe and the main theme is even one of my favorite musical themes of his, the carousel ride. I really like this theme. Not to forget, Sophie, the main character, is a huge highlight for me. Even if the movie isn't exactly among my top favorites movie of all time anymore, she is definitely one of my favorite female characters ever created anywhere at all time. And she has been ever since I first encountered her. She still is. The movie has made me lost a bit of shine, but she has not one bit. She just has such a great personality and such a great presence. I wish I could say that other than the name she reminds me of me, but that would be a complete and utter lie. She is more like the exact opposite of me. If you're curious about my real personality, I'm just as messy as she's clean and tidy. Hell, I am as messy as Howl is. Let's just put it like that. This is actually also the first time I can recall that Miyazaki decides to try and make a traditional fairy tale, which does strike me as a bit odd, since he's usually all about testing boundaries and doing new stuff. I am though a huge fan of traditional fairy tales, and I wish dearly people would do them more, without having to resort to try to make them more modern or dark or whatever. How about just making a plain fairy tale story that aims to get that timeless magical fairy tale feel? That's what I actually want. Don't know about you guys, but that's what I want. So honestly, I can't really complain about this movie. Though when it comes to Miyazaki trying to imitate a more Western European style, meaning I guess the inspiration for this movie is Old England, that is at least my guess, it seems odd. I do like it better when he takes deep inspiration from the things he knows, which is, Japan. But then again, Porco Rosso takes place near Italy, and that's one of my favorite movies of his, so what do I know? It is still all around a really good movie. Though when you watch it right after having watched Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away, it does lose impact. I can't help but think though that that's not the fault of this movie, that's more because Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away are just that good. And you can't expect every project to be like that, to be exceptional like that. Sometimes just really good isn't that good enough. And though this isn't any longer the movie I would first mention when talking Miyazaki, it is a movie that lays very close to my heart still, and I still deeply enjoy it, having watched it a lot of times and found new plot elements that suddenly make sense. Although, gee, there's a lot going on in this movie. I never sit still long enough to explain all of it. And the next time we'll be taking a look at a very loose interpretation of a Danish fairy tale. And yes, The Little Mermaid is Danish. Hans Christian Andersen, the author of The Little Mermaid, and a lot of other stuff like, The Snow Queen, is Danish. Those are Danish fairy tales. Hell, The Little Mermaid is actually our national symbol, the same way that the Statue of Liberty is the American symbol. No kidding, no joking. She's there in Copenhagen, you can go see her. Though she is little, very little. But it is, so back off. She's ours. Though, that makes it a bit more ironic, because of course I want to like a movie where Miyazaki takes the Danish fairy tales and make his interpretation of it. Miyazaki and Western European fairy tale just doesn't blend well, unfortunately, and I really like both things, so more on that next time.
The agony booth is a most effective means of discipline.